Kyoto. For 1,000 years, it was the heart of Japan, the home of emperors, the birthplace of Japanese civilization. A city of temples so beautiful they were said to touch heaven itself. Gardens so perfect they represented the cosmos in miniature. But in 1467, that perfection was shattered by the very warriors sworn to protect it. Kyoto is not just a city. It is the cultural pinnacle of Asia. For over 600 years, it has been the imperial capital. Designed on cosmic principles borrowed from Tang Dynasty China, the streets run in a perfect grid pattern, each avenue aligned with the cardinal directions. The Kamo River flows gently through the eastern edge, separating the sacred from the secular. This image shows the Ginkakuji, the silver pavilion, still under construction in early 1467. This is a civilization that has turned refinement into religion. But beneath this serene surface, a storm is gathering. And it begins not with foreign invaders or peasant revolt, but with a family argument among the most powerful men in Japan. This scene depicts the aging shogun Ashikaga Yoshimasa in his private quarters, surrounded by scrolls and tea implements. Yoshimasa's younger brother, Yoshimi, was supposed to inherit the position of shogun. But then, after years of trying, Yoshimasa's wife finally gives birth to a son, Yoshihisa. Now there are two heirs. The shogun refuses to choose between them. In any other time, this would be resolved through negotiation. But in 1467, every powerful samurai clan in Japan is desperate for advantage. The great daimyo lords sense weakness. They begin choosing sides. By spring of 1467, two massive armies are assembling inside Kyoto itself. On the eastern side, Hosokawa Katsumoto commands forces loyal to Yoshimi, the brother. On the western side, Yamana Sozen leads troops supporting the infant son. These are not small raiding parties. These are armies of tens of thousands. This image captures the tension of those final, peaceful days. On May 20th, 1467, someone fires the first arrow. History does not record who. It doesn't matter. Within hours, Kyoto is at war with itself. This scene shows the moment the fighting spreads beyond the samurai estates into the streets of the common people. What began as a controlled conflict between two military camps explodes into total urban warfare. Fire is the great equalizer in a city built of wood and paper. The mansions of the nobility burn just as quickly as the shops of merchants. Temples that took decades to build are reduced to ash in minutes. The famous Kinkakuji, the Golden Pavilion, stands untouched for now, but the smoke from burning neighborhoods darkens its reflection in the pond. The samurai warriors, trained for honored duels in open fields, are forced to fight in narrow alleys and burning buildings. They scramble over tile roofs, crash through paper walls, and stumble over terrified civilians fleeing the flames. This is not the elegant warfare of their training. This is chaos. The commoners suffer the most. They have no stake in this succession crisis. They don't care who becomes shogun, but their homes are destroyed. Their livelihoods are gone. Thousands flee into the surrounding mountains, carrying whatever they can grab, yet some stay. Within the first week of fighting, a quarter of Kyoto is destroyed, but the war is only beginning. This image shows the eerie landscape of Kyoto after the initial destruction. The perfect grid of streets is now a maze of rubble. Smoke rises from embers that refuse to die, but the two armies are still here, still fighting, still locked in stalemate. Neither Hosokawa nor Yamana can gain the upper hand. The eastern and western armies dig in, building fortifications from the ruins of the city they're destroying. Mansions become barracks, temple grounds become military camps. This scene depicts one of the greatest losses in Japanese history, the burning of the imperial archives in 1469. For over 600 years, these buildings held the administrative records, poetry collections, and historical documents of Japan's emperors. Court diaries going back centuries, original manuscripts from Japan's greatest poets, legal codes, genealogies, maps of ancient Japan, all of it burns. Modern historians estimate that 90% of Japan's pre-war historical documents were destroyed in the Onin War. We will never know what was lost. Entire chapters of Japanese history simply vanish into smoke. The cultural elite of Kyoto scatter. Master artisans, tea ceremony teachers, no theater performers, poets, and philosophers flee to the provinces. They take their knowledge with them. Ironically, this destruction spreads Kyoto's refined culture across Japan. What was once concentrated in the capital now takes root in distant castle towns. But in Kyoto itself, silence. The city of 10,000 shrines becomes a city of ghosts. By 1477, the war finally sputters to an end. Not because anyone won, but because everyone is exhausted. Hosokawa Katsumoto dies. Yamana Sozen dies. The original dispute over succession has been forgotten. No one remembers what they were fighting for anymore. This image shows Kyoto in 1480, 3 years after the war's end. The population has collapsed from 200,000 to fewer than 40,000. Entire neighborhoods are abandoned. Palaces stand roofless, open to the sky. Foxes den in the ruins of aristocratic mansions. Farmers plant rice in what used to be elegant courtyards. The imperial family remains, but they are destitute. Emperor Gotsuchi Mikado is so poor he cannot afford a proper coronation ceremony. When he dies, his body lies unburied for weeks because there is no money for a funeral. The shogunate continues in name, but with no real power. The daimyo lords who came to Kyoto to fight have tasted independence. They return to their provinces as warlords, answering to no one. Japan fractures into 100 warring states. The Onin War didn't just destroy a city. It destroyed the entire political order of medieval Japan. What follows is called the Sengoku Jidai, the Warring States period. 150 years of continuous civil war, yet Kyoto survives. Slowly, impossibly, it rebuilds. Refugees return. Merchants reopen shops. New temples rise on the foundations of the old. The Golden Pavilion, miraculously spared, becomes a symbol of endurance. This final image shows Kyoto in 1550s, nearly a century after the war began. The city will never return to its former glory, but it has transformed into something new. The rigid aristocratic culture is gone. In its place, a more dynamic, merchant-driven society emerges. The tea ceremony, once the privilege of nobles, spreads to the merchant class. No theatre adapts to please common audiences. The art of flower arrangement becomes more accessible. The cultural refinement that once belonged only to the elite becomes part of everyday life. The Onin War remains a cautionary tale, a reminder of what happens when honor matters more than peace, when pride destroys what beauty builds. Today, if you walk through the temples of Kyoto, if you sit in its Zen gardens and watch cherry blossoms fall on raked gravel, you are experiencing a culture that died and was reborn. The elegance survived the chaos, but it carries the scars. If you enjoyed this journey into Japan's darkest hour, click the subscribe button for the next episode. Thanks for watching.